Welcome to this explainer where we're going to break down the absolutely thrilling historical tactics of 190 AD. Today we're analyzing the ultimate David versus Goliath battle at Hulao Pass. If you know the Three Kingdoms era, you already know this is one of the most famous, blood-pumping military encounters in all of history. We're going to explore the raw martial power, the incredibly clever psychological warfare, and the split-second tactical decisions that turned three completely unknown brothers into absolute legends, all while an entire empire practically held its breath. Okay, let's quickly run through the agenda for this tactical briefing. 1. The coalition against Dong Zhuo. 2. The invincible warlord Liu Bei. 3. Zhang Fei's fierce challenge. 4. Guan Yu enters the fray. 5. The three heroes strike. And finally, 6. A legend born at Hulao. Let's dive right in. Section 1. The coalition against Dong Zhuo, setting the macro-political stage. To really understand the stakes here, we first have to look at the massive political alliance that formed to take down the tyrant Dong Zhuo. You know the story. By the year 190, Dong Zhuo had deposed the young emperor, installed his own puppet, and entirely monopolized state power. In response to this, 18 regional warlords raised their banners, forming a sprawling coalition army to march straight on the capital of Luoyang. And this wasn't just some high-level Game of Thrones for the elite warlords. Dong Zhuo's tyranny was devastating common villagers and completely disrupting vital daily trade routes. He was literally forcing the realm into starvation and chaos.
Think about the immense disparity in power and political goals at play here. On one side, you have figures like Yuan Shao, the wealthy aristocratic leader representing the old world entitlement of this massive 18-faction superpower. And on the other side, well, you have Liu Bei. He's a humble county magistrate of Pingyuan with absolutely zero territory. At this point in time, his status is incredibly lowly. He's just joining the coalition under the wing of another warlord, Geng Sinzan. Keep that grassroots underdog status in mind, because it makes everything that happens next so much more impactful.
All of this escalating tension funnels directly into Hulao Pass. It's a strategic geographic choke point where Dong Zhuo deployed his absolute ultimate weapon. Located northwest of modern-day Xinjiang, Hulao Pass is the eastern gate to the capital, and the geography there is notoriously treacherous and heavily fortified. From a high-level leadership perspective, it's the ultimate force multiplier. It's that classic military scenario where one man holding the pass can literally stop 10,000 from crossing. Dong Zhuo knew the coalition had to come through there, so he sent his best to hold the line.
Section 2. The invincible warlord Liu Bei, visualizing the threat. Because that ultimate weapon was none other than the era's most terrifying and physically dominant general, Liu Bei. The coalition forces weren't just fighting a man, they were going up against a walking natural disaster. We're all familiar with the famous saying from the era, among men, Liu Bei, among horses, Red Hare. That combination made his cavalry charge absolutely devastating. Historically, Liu Bei was renowned as the #1 warrior in the world. He stood exceptionally tall, possessed immense physical strength, and his martial arts were completely unparalleled. And Dong Zhuo had basically bought his loyalty by gifting him the Red Hare, a mythical horse said to travel 1,000 miles a day, entirely crimson without a single stray hair. So mounting Liu Bei on the Red Hare wasn't just a slight battlefield upgrade. It was like taking a heavy tank and dropping the engine of a sports car into it.
But the truly crucial factor is this massive number, 120. That is 120 caddies, the sheer weight of Liu Bei's signature weapon, the方天画戟, or Sky-Piercer Halberd. Just to put that into perspective, ordinary generals couldn't even block a single strike from this thing. Liu Bei had already routed several coalition generals, striking absolute, paralyzing fear into the hearts of the 18 warlords. They were completely outmatched by a military philosophy that relied purely on the overwhelming, brute force of a solitary god of war. Section 3. Zhang Fei's fierce challenge, the inciting rivalry. So with the elite coalition generals terrified, it took a sheer masterclass in psychological warfare from a warrior named Zhang Fei to actually kickstart this duel. He knew he couldn't just ride out and cross blades. He needed to completely destabilize Liu Bei's supreme confidence first.
Zhang Fei brilliantly weaponizes Liu Bei's treacherous history with an explosive insult that completely enrages the invincible warlord. See, Liu Bei was originally surnamed Liu. He then took his superior Ding Yuan as an adoptive father, only to murder him and take Dong Zhuo as his new adoptive father. By screaming, "Slave of 3 surnames, don't run, Zhang Fei of Yan is here," Zhang Fei hits the absolute most painful nerve possible. He turns Liu Bei's mercenary nature into a massive psychological weakness. Liu Bei totally loses his composure, abandons his defensive posture, and charges out in a blind rage. Now, let's track how this crazy duel rapidly builds. Zhang Fei doesn't just survive the initial clash. He goes toe-to-toe with Liu Bei for 50 brutal rounds without losing. Before this moment, literally no one had lasted even 10 rounds against Liu Bei. But Zhang Fei, wielding his massive 18-span serpent spear, just gets fiercer the longer he fights. However, as the fight pushes past that 50th round, the reality of Liu Bei's supreme martial arts starts to show. Zhang Fei's strikes begin to slow down, and he gradually starts losing his footing. Section 4. Guan Yu enters the fray. The escalation. Seeing that Zhang Fei simply couldn't secure the victory alone against such a monster, the battlefield dynamic escalated dramatically. Watching closely from the sidelines, Guan Yu sees his sworn brother struggling. So Guan Yu charges in, wielding his Green Dragon Crescent Blade, and that weapon weighs a staggering 82 caddies. He instantly shifts the momentum. With eyes like a phoenix and eyebrows like silkworms, Guan Yu is an incredibly intimidating figure. By throwing an 82 caddy broadsword into the mix, he completely alters the tactical geometry of the battlefield, answering Liu Bei's individual might with the sheer power of brotherhood. The tactical math totally changes now. It becomes a 2-on-1 boss fight against the world's most dangerous man. You've got Zhang Fei with his serpent spear and Guan Yu with his crescent blade, combining their incredible strength to flank Liu Bei. This is an unprecedented level of martial talent focused onto a single target. Any normal general would have been instantly crushed by the combined weight and skill of these two brothers. But astonishingly, even after 30 more rounds against two heavy hitters, Liu Bei's supreme martial arts keep him from falling. The sheer stamina and defensive prowess required to parry an 18-span spear and an 82 caddy blade simultaneously, from horseback, for 30 straight rounds? Well, that's exactly why Liu Bei was considered peerless. He's put on the defensive, his offensive strikes are neutralized, but the man simply will not break. Section 5. The Three Heroes Strike. The Tactical Climax. This brings us to the absolute boiling point of the entire encounter, the moment when the lowly magistrate, Liu Bei, finally draws his weapons. Seeing both his brothers gaining an advantage but still unable to deliver that finishing blow, Liu Bei can't just sit back and watch anymore. With Liu Bei entering the fight, the three brothers successfully surround Liu Bei, creating this inescapable ring of blades. Liu Bei spurs his horse forward, wielding his twin swords. Now it's a true encirclement. Liu Bei was forced to parry to his left, block to his right, and desperately try to manage relentless attacks coming from 360 degrees. Finally, his unbreakable defense is actually beginning to crumble. Let's break down this brilliant, split-second tactical decision. Liu Bei quickly identifies Liu Bei as the weakest link, fakes a fatal strike, and uses that opening to escape with his life. From a high-level tactical standpoint, Liu Bei's battlefield awareness is just unmatched here. He abandons his ego for survival. He realizes Liu Bei's twin swords lack the massive range of Guan Yu's halberd or Zhang Fei's spear, so he deliberately feints a vicious thrust right at Liu Bei's face. Instinctively, Liu Bei dodges, and in that microscopic fraction of a second, the ironclad circle is broken, and Liu Bei spurs the Red Hare right through the gap, fleeing back to the safety of Hulao Pass. Section 6. A legend born at Hulao. The aftermath. The physical clash of weapons might have been over, but the political and historical shockwaves of this single battle were just beginning to ripple out. The sight of the world's most terrifying warrior actually turning his back and running left the entire battlefield in a stunned silence. By forcing the invincible Liu Bei to retreat, these three unknown brothers completely revitalized the coalition's morale. They essentially embarrassed the elite lords who had been cowering in fear just hours before. The 18 warlords erupted into thunderous cheers. While Liu Bei managed to escape with his life, his absolute aura of invincibility was permanently shattered. And far more importantly, the world now knew the names Liu Bei, Guan Yu, and Zhang Fei. The tale of the three heroes spread north and south of the river, cementing their legacy forever. So it leaves us with a really fascinating question about leadership and loyalty to ponder long after the dust at Hulao Pass has settled. Liu Bei was undeniably the greatest individual fighter, a man almost entirely motivated by self-interest and survival. But he was pushed back by three men whose strength was exponentially multiplied by their unbreakable loyalty to one another. What do you think ultimately wins on the battlefield? Is it unmatched individual talent or absolute unified devotion? It's definitely something to keep in mind as you explore the rest of the Three Kingdoms history. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning what really drives victory.